Okay, we are live back on the Rudecast. I am your gracious host. We're taking over for Rick Tony because Rick Tony's about to take a long vacation soon. So, anyway,
You're going with me.
let me go ahead and introduce the panel today. So, we have Mr. Jim Blunt, and
Good
we
morning.
got
Good
Rick
morning.
Tony as well as Doug.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and let this go. All right.
All right. Everyone, I know this past week, a decision was made. I don't have the gentleman's name in front of me, but I do know it happened in North Carolina. I'm not even sure what city. Possibly Doug or Mr. Blunt can elaborate on that.
Elizabeth City, North Carolina.
Because I haven't followed.
Okay. Well, Mr. Blunt said, what is it, Mr. Blunt?
Elizabeth City, North Carolina. And what's so interesting is that's one of the Elizabeth State University is in that community. That's a land grant college, part of the University of North Carolina system. And that's one of the few schools in the country that trains flight controllers, people who help land airplanes at airports all around the country. But I think what Rick Tony was alluded to is that the local district attorney reviewed all the evidence or reviewed the tape according to him, and he decided not to press charges against those police officers that shot the young man. I think he was shot several times, wasn't it? In the back of the head?
He was shot in the back of the head. That's the one that upset me.
So
because and the fact that they won't release the whole autopsy video. So what are they hiding? I mean, the whole police cam, body cam video.
Right. It was.
So what are they trying to hide from us?
Certain segments was redacted. So
yeah,
it's a big cloud over the heads of the law enforcement authorities down there. But it was another interesting development that happened in Minnesota because that involved the what had happened at the same time that the George Floyd case, a few weeks after, a young kid that was shot, and the police officer who happened to be a white female, she just took her gun for a taser, and this guy was shot. And the attorney general of the state of Minnesota, Elephant, to take that case over. So, we just have a rash of police involvement in this country. And there's another case that was 2 years old that was in Louisiana, where this guy was actually beaten to death by the police officers. And, clean-cut young man, then beard, healthy looking guy. And that happened 2 years ago. And now that's just coming. So,
and
we have police departments all across the country now, basically questioning their motives. Some people are trying, let's defund the police. And, it's just a mess. I don't know how we're going to get out of this.
And then even with that, the one that happened 2 years ago, and they're saying that the video just surfaced, he was, I want to say, brutalized to a point where, like, they dragged him. He was already in cuffs. They maced him, and that's just what we know. I'm not even sure.
Talking about the Green shooting in Louisiana.
Yeah,
Louisiana,
yeah.
right.
And like, I honestly am anxious to see if Congress can pass this police accountability bill. The George Floyd Act is what I believe is nicknamed. Because if it's not time to, I'm not saying, defund the police or, go in there and restructure all the shit. We just got to figure out why the hell is it they're so trigger happy when it comes to black men or black people. Because I've seen just as many videos of white people doing more and being able to go home to their families even after the insurrection. You saw when they were done wrecking havoc, they all just walked out. But
that's another dilemma that's facing the Republican Party.
Hold on, Mr. Blunt.
What you need to look at is that all police departments in this country has become militarized thanks to the surplus military weaponry that's been handed out to police departments all over the country. So what you have now is the occupation mentality between the police and its citizens.
Yeah,
And
but
go ahead, Mr. Blunt.
I don't know if most people remember during the urban unrest of the 60s, there was an attorney general of the United States. His name was Ramsey Clark. His dad was on the bench of the Supreme Court of the United States of America. And he said the same statement. That was in 65, 66, 67. That basically you got police departments across the country almost becoming an occupying army. And that's not going to last in an economy that's free market and depends on the free movement of goods and services to survive.
Mr. Blunt, are you talking about pre-1963 or post-1963?
Well, it was during the period when Lyndon Johnson got sworn in as president, and he appointed Ramsey Clark as his attorney general.
Right, but I don't remember who the attorney general is. That's the problem.
It was Ramsey Clark. His dad was on the Supreme Court of the United States, or had been. And Lyndon Johnson appointed him the attorney general of the United States. And they were trying to figure out how they could stop at least slow down all these urban riots.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. I just don't remember Ramsey's last name.
Clark, C-L-A-R-K, Clark.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. It was Ramsey Clark. You're right. That's right.
Oh, look, while we're talking about
Here's what you gotta listen. Here's what you got to take into consideration with all of this, okay? When you had the protests in the early 60s when Bobby Kennedy was the AG, if you remember right, all the protests in the around 1961 when you had that when you had the Boston Anderson and the civil rights people firebombed, the Freedom Riders were firebombed in Anderson, Alabama in 1961. Don't forget the Freedom Riders, folks.
True. And it's interesting that you would bring up Bobby Kennedy because he came here in 1964 at a meeting with the local Democratic Party. And one of the great leaders in that party behind the scenes was Wilmot, Jimmy Wilmot of the all the malls that you see being produced around here. And Bobby gave a speech at the time over at the top of the plaza. Several leaders of the local Monroe County Democratic Party.
Okay, so see, look, this goes to prove my point, okay? And my point is simply this: if you don't take the time to open that book to set you free, your ass is grass and the government's the lawnmower that's cutting it, okay? That's it. That's it. Open the book shall set you free, okay?
And another thing,
In
Doug.
other words, if you don't learn from history, you're sure to repeat it.
Yeah, but Doug, I always know.
That's it.
And one thing, Doug, that I always like what you said is that if you people, please know how you're governed. You know,
That's right.
and one thing,
You better believe it.
and then the other thing that I picked up from you is making sure I have all my elected officials in my phone to where I can call. As a taxpayer, we have that right.
You
I actually
better
need to start
believe
doing that
it.
myself.
No, I'm dead ass. You should have seen me when what happened? Was it the second impeachment? I was on the phone with everybody in Albany. And I got that from being around Doug these past couple of years. Was that, Doug, he came, I can't remember what it was. It was either the week you came in with the NHL CBA or the New York State Constitution. But you read off all those phone numbers.
CBA.
Yeah, but then you read off all the phone numbers for everybody that applied to us off of your memory. And I said, you know what? I'm going to start doing this. And I've called Schumer shit. Not recently. I don't want to say I called him in the last 4 weeks, but I think since 2020, I think I've called him like 15 times. I haven't talked to him directly, even though I requested it. They said he called me back. But hell, that secretary guy who answers his phone, he's tired of hearing me.
Listen, Eric,
Yeah.
I got in my hand, right? Dated March 27th of 2020, right?
Uh-huh.
I got in my hand the Public Law 116-136, and it has to do with Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security Act, or the CARES Act,
Uh-huh.
right? I requested this from Morelli's office quite some time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And while I was away in Georgia, this came in the mail. Okay? So I'm looking at it right in front of me. All I did was call the office and bam, I got the legislation. Hell motherfucking hello, okay?
And Doug, the one thing I do appreciate you coming on and telling people so avidly is that they need to understand that they have the ability to do this too. As a taxpayer, folks,
That's right.
all you got to do is call, city council, the state legislator, the arbitrator, any elected official. You have a right to know what the hell they're doing.
You better believe it.
So, all right, we're going to take another break, probably 5 minutes. When we get back, let's talk the NBA playoffs. I know last night and all day yesterday they had, 3 or 4 games on, Doug? Were you watching?
Yes, they had several games.
Idiot.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't have a TV. But, Doug, you can access TV from your phone now.
Yeah, I know that, but I don't do it.
All right. Well, yeah, I believe it was 3 or 4 games on yesterday, and then there's another slate of 3 or 4 today. And
There were 4 games on yesterday.
yeah, so it's going to be another 4 today. And I don't know if everybody heard, but Adam Silver actually liked the play-in factor added to the playoffs this year.
He likes
So,
what?
I'll tell you why.
he liked it. He
I'll
said
tell you why he likes it.
yeah, when we get back,
I'll tell you
we'll
why he likes it.
yeah, hold that from when we get back, Doug. But we'll be right back. You're listening to What's Going On in the Experience, the Rudecast. I'm Rick Tony here with Sonny Blaze, Doug the protagonist, Mr. Jim Blunt. We'll be right back.